Blog Talk Radio.
Party's first objective is to give the people hope and educate them about the power of their vote. Anonymity offers a united and equal face to each and every person who legally registers to vote and then uses the write-in option to send a clear and powerful message to the balloted candidates. It is Humanity's Party's intent to rally the people to show up at voting booths across the country and record a vote of anonymous. The Humanity Party hopes that Anonymous wins the majority of votes and sends a strong message to the political powers that control our lives. It is our intent to send a message to government authorities that we demand drastic changes, and most importantly, that we provide the solutions to find the change that we desire. Welcome to the show. This is the Voice of Humanity. I'm the voice of the Humanity Party. Welcome to the Blog Talk Show. This is March 20th, 2016. We're getting a lot more interest in the Humanity Party, and a lot of questions have been sent in about what the Humanity Party is all about. I particularly like one from a 16-year-old named Shannon, living in Michigan of the United States of America. I'm going to read a portion of her email that she sent into the Humanity Party, because this kind of gives us an idea and will help segue into an explanation of what the Humanity Party is and how we're going about to do what we want to do on a political realm or with a political agenda to try to make the changes necessary in this world. Anyway, Shannon writes, "Hi, my name's Shannon. I'm a 16-year-old female living in Michigan. I have an interest in politics. First time I ever, and would love to be a part of your party in the near future. The first time I've ever felt like change was a real possibility for this country is when I read the rough draft of the new Constitution that you guys want to implement. I just have a few questions. Why would Anonymous want a political party? Wasn't Anonymous for anarchy? Anarchy is a lack of government, complete reform. I decided to become part of the system instead of maintaining a strong stance against it. And why does the message you're sending sound strangely like communism? How is it not communism when you're talking about the redistribution of wealth, a tight-fisted central government, and complete and total equality for all? It could work, who knows, but I don't think anyone would support the U.S. jumping on the communism train, so how are you going to sell this?" Now, being 16 years old, I thought Shannon had some good points, and we appreciate her email and her interest in the Humanity Party. First of all, and what the purpose of this show is, if we could just get the Shannons of the world to tune in, to listen to us, to call in and discuss these type of things. That's the purpose for this show. The idea is to help us as a group of people to be able to present the things that we want, the changes that we want for the governments of the world, to know how to be able to explain them and share them with the other people of the world. And that's where we have these discussions. If things are not quite clear on the website, humanityparty.com, then we hope that people will call in and talk about these things. Because we see from what Shannon has written that she does not really understand the Humanity Party. At her age, wanting to get involved in politics, again, we appreciate her concern and her desire to get involved. Number one, anonymous, we are using the mask that represents anonymous only for the sole purpose of maintaining anonymity, so that no one of us stands above any other in the presentation of what we want as a group of people. You can imagine if we had a protest, which the Humanity Party does not believe in protests. We will never organize a march. We will never organize a protest because we do not believe that that's the way to get a message across. We believe that the correct way is to use the power of the vote. Democracy is spreading throughout the world. And we're not saying that democracy is the best thing for the world's government. That being because there's always two sides of any issue. And just because 51% of the people get what they want, it doesn't mean that the 49% should not be heard, that the minority that doesn't win the vote should not be given an opportunity and have laws established that also protect their opinions and their understanding. But as it is, democracy is the best thing that we've come up with yet. So utilizing democracy, or the vote of the individual, to vote that person's opinion, we want to send a message to the governments of the world, starting with the United States government, that we're tired of the same old politics. Those representatives of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party who usually get to have runoffs in all the elections, whether that be for members of the houses in Congress or the President of the United States. It's really a two-party system, very unfair, and does do nothing to make the changes that the people need to create peace upon this earth and equality. Okay, so what we want to do, of course, hold on one second, I have some technical. I've got a little technical issue here in the studio. There, I think we solved that. Is in that. In one stating their opinion with that vote, and if we can get enough people to go to the polling booths, the ballot box throughout America, and even throughout the world, and write in anonymous, or if they don't provide a place to write in anonymous, then just take a simple note, post-it note or whatever, and leave it. I vote for anonymous. Only upon doing this will we have a big turnout of more people that do that than those who actually vote. Only then will the Humanity Party have any clout or any reasonable power to demand change from the governments of the world. Where we are right now, there's hardly anyone who follows this party. We have very few callers even now who are on the phone. There seems to be some who have interest. And then, like Shannon, they get told things that aren't correct. The Humanity Party is not for the redistribution of wealth. She probably just heard that in one of her school classes, and that's what communism is all about, taking from the wealthy to give to the poor. We do not agree with that in any way. The wealthy are people. They're human beings. Without them, the economic structures that run our lives would completely dissolve and erode and tumble. The wealthy are needed. They control the money. But we want to change that. We want to have the people control the money, not to take it from the wealthy, not even to tax the wealthy, but to make sure that an individual, a person who is born upon earth, has the basic necessities of life that person needs to experience a full life, to be able to think, to be conscious, to have the ability to not worry about whether they're going to get their next meal, whether or not they're going to have to sleep in the cold weather, whether they're going to have clothes to wear, or good, solid health, dental, mental care for them, or whether or not they can afford an education. We believe that all human beings who are born upon planet Earth deserve the right to 5 basic necessities of life: food, clothing, health, mental, dental care, housing, and education. We believe that they should be guaranteed, that no constitution should even exist that runs any government unless those 5 things are guaranteed. Because with those 5 things, then Shannon and everybody else who is written into the Humanity Party can have their opinion. We will never agree with all the people out there and their opinions on certain issues, and I'll read some of them in just a minute. But that doesn't matter. We don't need to agree on those things. But we need the ability to at least think and have the energy to disagree. And the only way we're going to have that is if we have the ability to live without struggle, the ability to live without slavery. Being forced to get a job to provide the basic necessities of life for yourself is slavery. That's exactly what it is if you are being forced to do that. Anytime an individual is forced to do something to enhance that person's life, or that person would die otherwise, that is slavery, folks. We have been lulled to sleep and deceived by the governments and business people in this world to believe that working an 8-hour job, and most people in most countries work 12 hours a day or more, 7 days a week. They make us believe that this is nice, this is worthy, this is something that is of value. Someone should work and work hard to raise themselves up by their bootstrings. That's the most absurd that we have ever accepted and been dealt. That bogus hand of literal malarkey does not work. 99.9% of the people upon this planet do not enjoy the job that they do. They simply do not want to work. They are forced to work. And as they work, there's only one way that they can get a job, and that's if they agree to enrich another human being. Businesses are set up to enrich people for profit. You work not to enrich yourself, but to enrich the owner of the company or corporation or entity for which you work and receive a paycheck. That's how the system is set up. You are forced to enrich another human being. You are forced to support the wealthy, the corporations of this world. You are forced to do that, or you will die from starvation, or you'll be put in jail if you try to steal food. You are forced into slavery. The Humanity Party disagrees with that. Our whole party is dedicated to the sole idea that every single human being that is born into this world by no choice of their own deserves freedom from slavery, deserves the 5 basic necessities of life given to them from the day that they are born to the day that they die. That is simply the overall thing that we are trying to accomplish in the Humanity Party. That's it, folks. Everything else is part of government. Everything else is part of having a Congress and having differing opinions and being able to argue about them and present your idea and then somehow come up with the best. And if we can't come up with the best solution, then we have to accept what the 51%, the majority, agree upon. That's how governments usually work. That's how democracy works. Okay? But there should be no question. There should be no argument. It should be a law, an inalienable right of the law of the land, that every single human being that is born into this world receives the basic necessities of life for free from the time that they enter this world to the time that they leave this world. End of story. Everything else doesn't matter. Okay? So, Shannon, we're directing this to you. Thank you for writing in. You do not understand the Humanity Party's plan. It has nothing to do with communism. We support the wealthy. We support an individual to play the game of life the way that economics is set up. That a person who has the ability to sit around and think about things because they have their basic necessity of life provided for, who comes up with cool ideas about how to make a better computer or how to make a better song or how to make a better technology, introduce a technology that has never been thought of before. People come up with those ideas because they have the ability to not work. They have the ability to sit around and think about these things. Thus, they have the creative minds and the ability to come up with innovations, thus propelling us into incredible technologies that we never dreamed of thousands of hundreds of tens of years ago. This is what happened when you have your basic necessities of life taken care of. And guess what, folks? Can you imagine? I want you to picture this. If everybody up on this planet was not forced to work, everyone had the basic necessities of life taken care of, their basic necessities of life taken care of. Can you imagine the creativity? Can you imagine what would happen with the human soul? How much power is in the human imagination? Because whatever a human can imagine, it's almost guaranteed that can be accomplished in some way. 200 years ago, nobody could even imagine. There are a few who could imagine that humans could fly. And now it's a reality. Nobody 100 years ago would ever have imagined it was possible to pick up a tiny cell phone, a tiny apparatus made of the materials of this world, and talk to somebody over in the other hemisphere of this world almost instantaneously through the technology that we have. But somebody imagined it. Whatever humans can imagine, whatever they can envision, they can achieve. But without the basic necessities of life, without the ability, the ability to have the proper nutrition to be able to think properly so your brain works properly, you don't have creativity. Being forced to work at a job that you don't like to enrich another human being so that they can be creative isn't helping with creativity. But there are those who have those creative minds, and they demand wealth. We as the Humanity Party support them in their desire for and their greed to be wealthy and to have money. Let them have the money. Let's give them more money if they will simply do one thing. If they will simply behind a plan to provide everybody with the basic necessities of life. Now, some might argue, especially those of the 1% of the corporations and business in the world, that if we provided everybody with the basic necessities of life and didn't force them into slavery to work for the corporations and companies in order to have those basic necessities, then the companies wouldn't have the employees to make a profit because people wouldn't have to work for them. Aha! The Humanity Party has that covered. That's right, corporations of the world. But if you provide us with a safe workplace, a fun workplace, reasonable hours, great vacation time, great wages, the Humanity Party doesn't provide, the basic necessities of life do not provide us with a plasma television or a nice car or any of those other things, not even a Snickers bar, not even a candy bar. That's not what it provides. If we want those things, then we'll come to work for you. It's your company. We'll enrich you while we take just a portion of your profit for our TV or for whatever we want. So we'll still work for you, but you better provide us with a wonderful place to work. There will be no need for unions ever again if the Humanity Party has its plan implemented. There'll be none. But won't need to work for an employer. Employers will be setting up the best businesses they can possibly provide people in order to get workers to enrich them. But anyways, there's a lot of people out there that have no idea what the Humanity Party is all about. There's people out there who are listening to others, who thinking that we're part of Donald Trump's people. We're trying to subvert the political process by having people vote anonymous so they won't vote Democratic. That is just simply not true. And we're not part of the anonymous movement where they illegally and violently take over computers and wage cyber war against the wealthy and the people they don't agree with. We do not agree with that. We believe that this must be done on a political movement. We're hoping that everybody out there who operates under the banner and the face of anonymous will join us. Quit it. Quit being mean to other people. Quit disrupting people's lives. We can do this, folks. We can change the economic apparatus that controls our lives, but we must do it through peaceful means, through intelligent means. And the only power we have as people is the power of our vote. Do not be dissuaded and listen to other people who think they know who the voice of the Humanity Party is or what the Humanity Party is all about, because they do not. Obviously, Shannon, if you thought that we had anything to do with the redistribution of wealth, you don't understand what it's all about. But Shannon didn't call in. She wrote an email. Okay, we got a lot of emails about the gun rights. Okay, I got an email. Someone got on Voice of Anonymous's case for being too mean, I guess. Okay, someone talked about Zeta Talk, who said that the Humanity Party is nothing more than another political opportunity, and we're behind Trump, or that we don't support the anonymous movement again, who are waging war on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a human being, a wealthy human being who's played the game according to his own benefit. He should be protected in that right to do so. We do believe, however, that Mr. Trump has no power, even if he were to become the President of the United States. Neither is Miss Clinton. Hillary Clinton won't have any power. They're not even telling you the truth. You hear the Bernie Sanders camp saying we need to tax the wealthy. The President of the United States has no power whatsoever to tax the wealthy. Has none. Only Congress can do that. Congress, the most powerful people that can be elected are the senators, the 100 people. I'm talking about the United States. And those of you who are listening in other parts of the world, the United States runs the entire economic apparatus, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, how money is printed, how loans are created, all those things. The United States Congress has their hand in the Federal Reserve. But the people can take a stand. The people of the United States can. If the United States people don't take a stand, we're taking this movement worldwide, which we will have ready by August of this year. A worldwide constitution where people from all over the world can get together and say enough is enough. We need a one world government with a new world order, equality for all people. And there have been many people who have written in about this evilness, about using the words one world government or a new world order. Well, what do you want us to call it? A government that is for all the people in the world to create equality and eliminate poverty. How does that work for you? Which will usher in an order of peace and hope that has never existed upon this earth. How do you want us to say it? But those of you who believe that way, who believe in these conspiracy theories, who believe that the Rothschilds run the world, you are ignorant people. And the part of our desire as a Humanity Party is to inform you correctly, to talk about these things and explain to you what's really happening out there. Human beings, people control things, but it's done through a political process. It's not done through conspiracy, folks. It's just not done that way. And if you believe in these things and these conspiracy theories, you're wasting your time and energy in believing in them. And you'll make no change whatsoever in this world by continuing to follow and chasing the tails of conspiratorialist dogs that are out there as hate mongers who don't know what they're talking about. The Humanity Party knows politics. They know where the power lies. The people can control these things, folks. We can do it. Okay, I'm going to take a couple callers who have called in, and then if we don't get any other callers, I'll go back to some of the emails that the people have sent in. But we welcome callers. Call in, challenge these plans. Get the voice of the Humanity Party, anonymous, to explain things clearly. Our producers want us to talk about certain things that are always, certain questions that are always asked. For example, the problem with the Humanity Party wanting to outlaw all guns and all weapons except for law enforcement and military, and then for entertainment and sport. And there's a lot of questions. We'll get to that in a second if you want to. It is very simple, and we'll discuss that if we find a person who wants to discuss that. But the idea of having this radio show is open up the lines to the callers, to you people. Call in, challenge the plan. Let's talk about your concerns, and let's see if we can solve them for you. Let's go to our first caller. Chastity, you're on the air. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Oh, okay. Well, first, I was thinking about Shannon's question that she wrote in, and I've been thinking this for a while now, that it would be a really cool idea if you could talk to the producers of the show about maybe setting up some sort of informational chart. I think visual aids are really helpful, and something that would just be really simply kind of define communism, Marxism, and then the Humanity Party plan and capitalism. And like, people need to understand, socialism especially. People don't understand that Medicare, what kind of a program is that? It's kind of socialistic. Are we going to just get rid of Medicare and just let everybody die? No. So I just think that people look at this plan, and I've had a lot of people, even attorneys, and they find one detail in the Constitution. They're like, well, that's a Marxist comment. This is a Marxist plan. I'm not going to follow it. They don't even read the entire thing. Because there's not only, maybe that one comment might be technically a socialist, but the entire picture together, that's, from what I understand, it definitely allows capitalism to thrive.
Okay, so what you're saying is you want our producers and the people who do the website to put together an FAQ, a frequently asked question. We do have that. It's not complete, but
okay, I'm thinking like a chart.
The producers are also going to put together little videos. Okay, but here's the key, Chastity. Here's the key. We started out talking about it. There's always going to be arguments of certain things, certain ideologies, religious beliefs. We had people write in about what does the Humanity Party think about abortion and those type of things. What we're trying to say is this: our main push, the main thing, if we could accomplish anything at all in the Humanity Party, the only thing that we would want implemented throughout this world is that the basic necessities of life be provided for all people equally from the time they're born to the time they die. That, there is no ism that incorporates that thing into their line of thinking. Okay, we don't want to take away the money. We don't want to change even how the money game is played out there at all. If people want to go out and become wealthy, they can do so. But we're never going to influence or get into the mind or heart or have someone get behind us who does not want change, who sincerely, with all their heart, wants to see change in this world. And if those are the only people who are going to even consider the points that the Humanity Party is trying to make, they're just those who want change, who believe that we can do it, that we can change things. And those are few and far between. And you've called many times, and you've got great ideas. I wish we could implement them all. But the sad thing is, we're never going to reach anyone who doesn't want change. And someone who wants change sincerely will get the Humanity Party in our proposals. And then there should be no question. All one has to do is read the preamble, go on the website. There's plenty of material to read. It just people won't.
Yeah, I just think that I know of myself, the way that I used to think more conservatively, and I definitely wanted to change, yet coming across this material, it took me like a year of really trying to understand it before I was able to realize that, begin to understand global economics and how it works, because I've been misled my whole life and basically told that you can't provide for people without taking from others. And whenever you understand this plan, it makes so much sense, and it's super simple. It's almost so simple that it's, how you're told to never believe anything if it sounds too good to be true. So I sat there analyzing this plan from every angle, going, this can't work. just because you can't do that. Even though there was no reason, there was no rationale behind it. I just didn't think that it was like possible, just because that's what you're told your whole life.
Have you ever heard of a saying of a thing called Occam's razor? Occam's razor. Okay, Occam's razor is basically something that the philosophers have come up with. It basically states that the easiest solution is the right one. Basically, okay, you've got to look at the easiest solution, and they use this in science. They try to anyway. But the problem is the solutions are so incredibly easy that, like you said, people have a hard time believing it can be that easy. And I remember the story, and of course, everybody who's listening out there, the Humanity Party endorses no religion whatsoever. The people who sit on the board of directors of the Humanity Party are very, very knowledgeable about all world's religions, know more about those religions and governments than any human beings could possibly know. But we need to make that disclosure before I say what I'm going to say. There's an interesting story in the Jewish Bible, which is also the Christian Bible, the Old Testament. It's a story about this guy named Moses, who, of course, is the big hero of the Hebrew culture, which is the Jewish culture, the Islam culture, and the Christian culture. But there's all these serpents that are going around and biting people and causing them to die, poisonous serpents, while the people are wandering around the wilderness. And Moses asked God, what are we going to do? Everybody's getting bitten by these poisonous serpents. And so God tells Moses, according to the story, put a serpent, a brazen serpent, upon a rod and lift it up above the people. And all the people have to do is simply look up at that serpent on the pole, and they will become immune to the serpent's poison. And very few people did it. And a lot of people just continued to die. They wouldn't even look up. Okay, that's a story. It's a myth, of course. But it teaches a principle about human nature. A very, very sound principle that you're trying to get to. So, Chastity, I'm not quite sure where we would spin our wheels trying to come up with all these ideas, trying to get people to think. But the fact is, if a person really wanted to, well, the truth is, if somebody really understood that there is a political plan that can work instantly almost, that will provide them with all the basic necessities of life and free education through higher education throughout their life, it might pique their ears a little bit, and they say, wait a minute. But like you have just explained, most people think that can't be. How can that be? So I appreciate your ideas and what you're doing. The best we can do is what we're doing, because we got you. We got Chastity. Listen to our plan and to accept it, to get behind it. So it must be, and Chastity said it's very simple, but I'm sure you get really frustrated with your friends and peers and others with whom you want to explain these things. But
no, I don't really get frustrated. I think it's kind of funny.
Do any of those people really want change? Yeah, do any of them really want change?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they think they do. I don't think they really care that much, though. Okay, I have a couple more questions. This is kind of a dumb question, but I haven't really seen a lot of people convinced. They don't even have to understand the plan. But if we somehow can work wine as medicinal, and then we, put that under like the healthcare part, that everyone's entitled to free wine, I feel like at least my mom I know would be willing to support the plan.
That or marijuana. Marijuana.
Both should be medicinal. And then, boom, all of a sudden everyone's like, well, we don't really care the plan, but we like our wine, so we're going to vote for that.
Well, someday they're going to care. Things are going down a slippery slope. The people just don't know. They don't know what's happening. The people in America, the affluent people who don't have any cares in the world, seem to have a good job and good savings account. They have no idea what's going to hit them. They have no clue. I guarantee you that if there are not changes made, Within the next 25 years, the United States of America will have a bombing, a terrorist bombing happen, a suicide bombing, every single day, sometimes twice a day, throughout the major cities in America. What then are they going to do? What they're going to do is say, oh, it's all religion. It's all religion. No, it isn't. Religion is what people grab onto, what people need when they're desperate, when they have no other hope in anything, when they have no hope in themselves and no hope in the life that they are living because it's so hard. They will always default to something outside of themselves that will offer them hope. The Humanity Party is going to offer that hope. But if there is not changes made, then those people that don't care, your friends, your neighbors, people who just, I'll just have a glass of wine, not worry about it, they don't know what's going to hit them. This country, the United States of America, will begin to see things happen as is happening every day in Turkey now, in Syria, Iraq, Tunisia, all of these other nations. It's coming to America. And if they do not make changes, then they're going to start thinking. But it might be by that time too late. Chastity, thanks for the call.
I don't quite get how it's been worse in other parts of the world and it hasn't quite hit America yet. That's always kind of baffled me because I feel like we're kind of responsible for a lot of the problems throughout the world, yet we haven't really seen the impact of it yet.
Yeah, it's a great comment, great question. Now, Anonymous probably can't answer that as well as another person can. But for the sake of what we understand, the reason why it hasn't hit America first is because the economic foundation of this entire world is established upon the shoulders of the United States economy. Okay, so governments, a lot of the powers that be in the world are going to protect that foundation the best that they can. But that is all shifting and going away. And I'm not, unless somebody wants to know when you understand what's happening with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, this trade deal that the United States wants to sign. If you understand NAFTA, how that works, and you understand, you don't even need to understand that, folks. What you need to understand is basic human nature. A human being gets up out of bed every morning, tries to come awake, looks in the mirror, tries to get themselves presentable, however way they might, and then they have to face daily life. Their daily life usually consists 100% with, where am I going to make my next buck? When am I going to make some money? How am I going to make that money? Or what am I going to do with the money that I have? Okay, that's usually what their thoughts are. That's what's in their heads. In their foreheads is this mark of an economic beast that takes over their emotions, and that's what they have to deal with. So, Americans are going to start to wake up in the morning and think, holy crap, there ain't no jobs out there that are worth anything. They're just retail jobs and distributing jobs. All the manufacturing jobs are in another country. All the good science jobs and technological jobs are in another country. I'm in debt up to my ears with school debt, and there are no jobs out there at all that pay anything that could get me ahead. I was dealt a load of lies when they said, go to college, get a degree, and you'll earn more than other people. And too bad. Over the last 10 years, the markets in this world have opened up as they should, and America is going to get hit, and they're going to get hit hard. But it's all going to happen. They've been protected up to this point. I'm not going to get into the other reason why they've been protected, but they have. Well, guess what? If the United States of America rejects the plan of the Humanity Party, they do not pay attention to the voice of Anonymous, and they do not make efforts to provide the basic necessities of life to the people that are born inside the United States and all over the world, then they're going to reap. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Hey, thanks for the call, Chastity. I appreciate that.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good one. But anyways, folks, if you just think of it logically, then you'll understand why America's been somewhat protected and isolated from all of the terrorist acts throughout the world. However, Americans are so naive and ignorant about the fact that they lose more people to guns being legal than any other country in all the terrorist activity combined and times 10 in the world. Think about that. More people die in America from handguns, from the fact that guns are legal, than all the terrorist activity throughout the whole world on a daily basis. And we don't see that as a problem. We believe that people, Americans believe, the Humanity Party doesn't. They should have the right to bear arms. Oh, really? Really? We'll get into that. Let's go to the next caller. DJ, calling from Illinois. I guess you have some questions about trademarks, or go ahead with your questions or comments.
Yeah. Hi, how you doing?
Good.
First, I want to say I was really excited when I saw the video about voting anonymous 2016 is what brought me to your website. I got really excited because I know we need that third party. We need a third party to kind of break up this two-party system. So I was genuinely excited. I visited your website, and I started reading the Book of Life page. And I had to take a step back for a minute and just kind of really understand what you guys are promoting. Doesn't seem like it vibes with anonymous.
Okay, so what you're talking about is you're trying to put us in the same category as what most people think of anonymous as a really a derelict group of people out there who are illegally causing problems for other human beings. We are not that anonymous. Okay, we are not that way. Anonymous, there is no really solid group of organized anonymous people. You're talking about hackers out there, computer hackers, who take on the mask of anonymous and do bad to other people, all in the name of good. They say that they're trying to help the poor. They're not helping anybody. They're just causing more problems. We are not that anonymous. Okay, we want them, and we're hoping that they will humble themselves enough to join us so that there's just one anonymous party. That the Humanity Party represents all the people in the world, the 99.9% of the humans upon Earth. Because the anonymous that you're talking about who put on these, who get in front of the camera and do these little crazy things about we're going to attack Donald Trump, we're not them. We never will be them.
Well, why use the image and the name and the voice? I mean, people that follow anonymous are going to be misled into your movement.
We're trying to change that. We're trying to not mislead them, but lead them into the proper movement that anonymous should be. Anonymous should be this type of movement where you care about people, that you do not want to harm another person, you do not want to break the law, but you want to unite as people. You want to unite as people anonymously, so that there's no pretentious leaders or people who put themselves above others. Let me give you an example. If we were to do a protest, a march, which we won't because we don't believe or solicit for those things, but if we were to do that, you'd have, in any march, there's always those leaders up in front, maybe carrying banners or whatever. And you got, say, so just picture this, DJ. You got all these people with anonymous masks on. They have, and the reason why they wear the anonymous mask is they want to portray and imply and project equality among themselves. Not black or white, male or female, gay or straight or anything else, just one people. That's what the idea of anonymity is, of anonymous. That's how it should be. Okay? And so you have this march going on, and you have these people in front. So imagine this. There's a break in the middle of the people in front just disappear in the back, and other people from the back come up front. And there's a continual march of people marching forward, yet the people in the back, after maybe 20 steps, are going up front, and the people in front are going to back. A sea of humanity. Nobody knows who they are. They're all equal. There's no leaders. That's how Anonymous should be. Instead, Anonymous has been reckless.
Have you attended any? Well, let me get to my question instead of.
No, absolutely not. We have nothing to do. We have nothing to do with the subversion of the anonymous name that's out there. We have every right to use it just like they do. We have every right to use it. We have real solutions, DJ. We have real.
All right, I understand that now.
Solutions.
I do have a question. I noticed that the THumP and the Humanity Party are trademarked, and I've never seen that in a political movement.
That's
Could you
right.
explain that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. We registered those trademarks so that nobody could use them for any purpose, any monetary purpose whatsoever. We wanted to protect them by any law that we could possibly apply to our movement. That's why we registered those things.
As you guys gain supporters and people want to use these labels, are they subject to any legal ramifications for using this?
Not if they use the label of just promoting the Humanity Party. Why would we? We want people to. We want people to use the Humanity Party and THumP. But we don't want other people to take it. We don't want other people, if this movement gains any ground and takes off, we don't want anybody using the Humanity Party or the word THumP to enrich themselves or to create a movement or create a grassroots group of people that
right, you don't want anyone using it other than yourselves.
No, we want everybody to use
that just says that you have the right to make the profit off of the name.
No, DJ. There's no profit made. There's no money exchanged hands in the Humanity Party. Zero. Okay.
I also heard that there's a book coming out. You guys working on a book?
It's called The Way to World Peace.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your particular question? You have any other comments that are valuable to us? You have anything you can challenge our plan?
I got a few holes to poke in your Constitution and.
Well, let's hear them. Let's hear them, DJ.
Article 1, Section 9B, electronic currency. Just having a hard time understanding how you're going to do that with undeveloped countries. And isn't it good for an economic system to have tangible currency, something you can physically hold? That's why we have precious metals, silver and gold.
All right, you ready for that, DJ? Let's talk about the wealthiest individuals in the world. Talk about the people that have all the money. How much do they use cash, DJ? How much you think
Probably
Bill
never.
Gates? There you go. Everything's electronic. The fact is they're glad that there's cash around. So the poor people can think that they have something when they absolutely do not, when it's really worthless. Everything's electronic currency, DJ. Everything's electronic currency. Most people, and it's headed that way more and more, don't even have cash. They use their debit cards or their credit cards. Everything is going that way. It's just inevitable.
What happens to silver and gold? I mean, those are still going to hold value, but how do you track that?
Silver and gold is only going to hold values to those who give it value. Silver is good for some.
Well, I can say the same thing about the electronic currency. I mean, really, it's the electronic currency. You're putting a number in a computer, and
Let me help
that's
you, DJ. Let me help you, DJ. Again. The economy of this world is all ran on electronic numbers. You're not going to get around that. And this is why. Let's say we believed you, DJ, and we went back to gold, the gold standard. And that's all that was valuable, gold and silver. No currency at all, just gold and silver. If we took all the gold and silver that was ever mined by the human race since the time that the human race even began to value gold and silver, and we divided it equally among all the people in the world, you'd have a speck of gold and less of a speck. No, you'd have a little bit more of a speck of silver in your hand. That's it. That's all you'd have. How can the people, 8 billion people in this world, dividing all the gold ever mined, DJ, how can they can carry on trade and purchase goods and services with a speck of gold and a little bit bigger speck of silver in their hand? Answer me that. We have people out there who take all the gold and take all the silver that's been gold and silver that has been mined, and hoard it for themselves. And they do not allow other people to have it. Electronic currency is the way the game can be played, should be played, and it will be played more equitable. That's how fiat money is created. That's how money is created. So my question to all the people out there like DJ that have this value on gold and silver is what I just presented to DJ. If you are so fair and equitable and you care about people, and this world is all about trade and trading with and bartering among ourselves, and we took all the gold and silver and distributed it equally to all people, you wouldn't even see that speck in your hand. Thanks for the call, TJ. Appreciate it. Unless, of course, you want to hang on and give us some more challenges. I love them.
Yeah, I've got more, and
let's have them.
Yeah, I've got plenty of questions.
Did that
I know you
answer make
you got
sense?
a lot of emails. I'm sorry?
Did that answer make sense on your gold and silver?
Yes, it did.
Are you with
I know
us
you got
now?
a lot of emails. Yes, I'm with you.
All right.
I hear you got a lot of emails about the right to bear arms, so I guess you'll cover that on your own.
Let's cover it. Let's cover it. I need someone to talk to that believes that we should have the right to bear arms. Do you believe that?
I do.
Okay, let's
I don't
talk about
believe
it.
anyone should be denied that right.
All right, let's talk about it a minute, because the producers wanted me to address this so they can come up with a video, perhaps, that talks about this. Okay, first of all, do you know what the Second Amendment actually says? Can you quote that for us?
The right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
Oh, no. See, that's what people who believe in the Second Amendment, we got to protect that Second Amendment. That's what they always say. They always say that. That's not what it says. You're forgetting the very first part, the preamble of that amendment, on which those people who wrote it back 250 years ago proposed that. Are you with me? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the people. They're talking about a well-regulated militia, talking about giving any John Henry a weapon. Because guess what happens? And let's talk about facts in America, DJ. Facts. You show me one person that has used their right to bear arms to stop a crime, and I will show you 500,000 more people, same ratio, whose child or kid has been killed, or who someone has accidentally shot themselves, or somebody has committed suicide, or someone who has passed background check, who has a right to bear arms, goes in and starts killing people. You show me that one person.
Yeah, there's always bad people in the world, but for every one bad person with a gun, there's 10 people that would carry a gun if they could.
DJ, I just asked you a direct question. Do you know personally one person who has used their right to bear arms to kill an intruder who's trying to commit a crime and take their stuff?
I see stories like that every day on the news. Yes.
You got to send us those, man, because we don't hear them at all. They're not. We hear on the news how a mother walking in Walmart has a 3-year-old child pull out her gun and kill her and plays with her. We hear about children all across America.
That has a lot to say about gun culture in America. I think maybe we need to change, not ban guns from everybody, but we need to change the gun culture. It needs to be a little bit more responsible. Right now, we don't have that. We have,
Tell me what your fear is. Is it not, and tell me if I'm incorrect, Is it not true that the people want the right to bear arms and protect their so-called Second Amendment rights because they do not want a corrupt government to control them, that they want to have the ability, if necessary, to rise up as a group of people and take over the government? Is that number one fear? Is that what you think this is for?
No, I don't. I think some people have that idea, but for the most part, people want to protect their homes, and crime does happen. Even if you do eliminate poverty with the cards that you want to issue out and give everyone everything they have ever wanted, crime is still going to happen.
No.
I mean, you're not going to eliminate it.
Don't say things about the Humanity Party that aren't true, DJ. We don't like that. We never ever said we're going to give everybody everything they ever wanted. We're going to give everybody everything they ever needed to live. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question, DJ. You're sleeping in your home. You're sleeping in your home sound asleep. An intruder comes in with a gun and points it at you. Because you have your weapon away from your child, maybe locked somewhere, or you don't have your bullets in or whatever to protect your children, or even if you had your weapon right by your nightstand and this intruder's pointing his gun at your face, tell me what your right to bear arms is going to do to protect you.
Well, at that point, I'm pretty much screwed, but, at least I'd have a fighting chance.
DJ, this is how we do it. We mandate and we put strict regulations on weapons manufacturing and bullet manufacturing. The common person, in fact, 99.99% of the people in this world do not know how to go out into the mountains and mine the substances to create gunpowder.
They don't need to anymore. They are 3D printing guns these days.
I didn't say that. I talked about gunpowder. I talked about gunpowder. You cannot 3D print gunpowder. But the manufacturers who do, the government can regulate that. We don't need to go in anybody's house and take away their guns. Not from the criminals, not from the people who obey the law. We simply outlaw any gun manufacturing from producing weapons, gunpowder, bullets, or anything else that get into the hands of the criminals or the law-abiding citizens, only in the hands of law enforcement people that are well-regulated by a Congress that knows what the hell they're doing. That's how you do it. That's what we've done. It is absurd for the United States of America to believe that their right to bear arms has protected them, when in fact the United States of America has the highest percentage of daily gun violence anywhere in the world. It simply does not work. It must be changed. If there's going to be any semblance of peace upon this earth, weapons that kill a human being must be regulated by a competent Congress. And the way to do that, I just explained. We're not going to go in anybody's house and take away their guns. They can have their guns so the little kid can find it and kill them or whatever they want to do, or they can shoot each other, whatever it is. But once all the people who have ammunition run out of ammunition, we're not going to allow any manufacturer to sell gunpowder that can make bullets that can kill a human being to anyone. That is sound politics. It works in other countries. It doesn't work here in the United States of America. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, we can move on.
I would love it. I mean, I'd love to have a great argument because I've never heard one. Never heard a good argument about why a person should have the right to have a gun. You get your friends, you find your pundits and your experts in gun control. I'm sorry, on gun possession. You get them on this show so we can revisit all the mass shootings that happened in the United States of America over the past 20 years and find that every single person that committed one of those crimes, the mass shooting, would have passed every single background check that exists. There's no way to stop this violence that occurs every day in the United States of America unless we regulate and control the right to bear arms, because they should only be in the hands of a well-regulated militia. being necessary for the security of the people, for crying out loud. Let's move on, DJ.
I noticed the voting age changed from 18 to 21 in your Constitution.
That's correct.
Why is that?
How old are you, DJ?
I'm 30 years old.
Gotcha. Do you know any competent 18-year-old that's had enough life experience to really understand the issues that are presented in any political arena? You
yeah,
personally.
I know plenty of them.
Well,
yeah.
I guess
they're competent enough to go fight wars, so they should be able to come back and vote.
So what you're saying then is the laws that regulate every single person's life should be in the hands of people who haven't lived life yet.
No. When you're 18, by law, you are a legal adult.
And that's what we're trying to change.
How are you going to take, at the time of, if this gets implemented and things really go right for you guys, how are you going to take people's right to vote away? There's going to be
nobody's getting their right to vote taken away.
Well, anyone that's under 21 is going to have their right to vote taken away.
What about Shannon, who's 16? I just talked about earlier in the show. How come this Shannon 16, who seems to be more competent politically and more on top of things and mature than most 18-year-olds, why didn't she get to vote? Should we lower it to 16, 14, 15? What do you say, DJ?
The law is 18, but I want to know why a political party that comes out of nowhere thinks that they should just change the voting age. Because 18-year-olds, some 18-year-olds are incompetent and immature. Sure. I mean, we have 30, 40-year-olds that are incompetent and immature.
I agree. 100% agree.
Maybe they shouldn't be voting.
100%. According to how the system of reality operates, finishes their education, his or her education, okay, before the age of 18. In fact, their senior years when they're 18, okay? Now, I just got a note from our producers, and this seems reliable information. Before the Second World War, almost all other countries had their voting ages at 21 or higher. Every single one of them. Okay, now, I understand your argument, but my argument's the same. Why not lower it to 16 then? Because there's 16-year-olds like Shannon we talked about who have more maturity and knowledge than 30-year-olds. Why not? It's all about life experience. Kids that are growing up, they shouldn't have to worry about political things. They shouldn't have to worry about who's making the laws that control their life. They should be allowed to eat, drink, have health care, get good education, and worry about those things till they become adults. We are saying that most 18-year-olds don't vote anyway. But if you read the Constitution that we're creating correctly, then you'll understand that we put a lot of benefits on voting. We want to make it a federal holiday, 2 days federal holidays just to register to vote. Paid holidays. You get off, all businesses shut down. For 2 days, everybody gets full pay to do nothing more than go register to vote. And then when the time of election,
I think voting needs to be paid attention to a little more.
When time election comes, they get 2 more days just to vote. They're paid.
Yep.
This is how you get people involved. This is how you get them excited.
Yeah.
But we're saying that we believe that a child should be able to grow and learn about life without worrying about politics. And that is the ultimate reason why we want the age raised to 21. Does that make sense? Give people time.
It's a good argument to have. That might be something to debate further on.
Well, that's what you're here for. Let's debate it.
Yeah, I love a good debate.
That's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. I love it. I love you challenging, DJ. I appreciate you. We appreciate you calling up and challenging these things because it gives us an opportunity to take on those challenges and explain these things properly. So,
well,
if you're done with the voting age,
every week.
If you're done with the voting age, go on to your next one.
That's really all I got right now. I did want to make a comment about, you were mentioning conspiracy theorists. And
yes.
How, what did you say about conspiracy theorists? How they think the Rothschilds own everything and run the world, and party is promoting is the end game to those conspiracy theorists. So, I mean, by what you guys are proposing is exactly what all the conspiracy theorists are expecting.
Not
and by
true.
these actions, you kind of, you make it true. This
Not
is
true.
the end
Did
game.
you listen to this show from the beginning, DJ?
No, I had some trouble connecting for the first 5-10 minutes.
That's your problem. That's your problem. This is what was said. The Humanity Party's basic premise, overall purpose, is one thing, and there is no conspiratorialist pundit out there or conspiracy theorist who has the same objective. And here it is, that every single human being born upon planet Earth, from the time that they are born to the time that they die, receive the 5 basic necessities of life: free nutritional food, basic clothing, health, mental, dental care, housing, basic housing, and education. There is no conspiratorialist theorist or any other person who supports that malarkey who has that agenda in mind. You name one. You can't. So don't say those type of things to the voice of the anonymous unless you want him to come back and do that. DJ, really, with all due respect, I appreciate your courage. You keep listening and keep studying and come up with those challenging questions. I guarantee you that I will win, that the voice of humanity, which I represent, the Humanity Party.
Well, I'm going to keep listening and I'll keep calling in because I want that $10,000.
Yeah, well, good luck. Remember, it's very simple. If you really just study, because let's get back to that basic premise, DJ. Why in the world would you not want every human being to be guaranteed the basic necessities of life for free?
It would be a wonderful, wonderful idea, but I think in reality it is just a dream.
Why is it just a dream?
Because I don't think you're going to need to issue all this stuff to everybody. You're going to need banks to issue out the currency, right?
No, they issue the cards.
How would you?
You know how many people?
Right,
you know how many
cards. What would be on the cards, and what would back all that? What's supporting everything that's giving
DJ,
people houses and yeah.
We could do this in a week. In a week. You know how many people in the world hold American Express cards? How many people in the world have American Express cards? That's probably something somebody can Google. Maybe my producer can. American Express, if you lose your card, they'll ship you one. They'll print that sucker and ship it overnight. You'll have a card, and that card has a credit limit. That credit limit, you're authorized to buy up to a certain amount. Do you know how food stamps work in America? Do you know about the EBT card? Food stamps.
Yeah.
They're cards. They're not currency. Not even stamps anymore. Not little tickets like there used to be. It's a card. It's a debit card, DJ. It's issued to a person. It could be done overnight. That card only allows that person to purchase certain things at stores. We have the ability to issue those things. It's not a dream. The only reason why it wouldn't work is because we have people out there who think that it won't work, therefore they won't get behind it and support it. They don't understand. Most people don't understand money. They don't understand how money is created.
I'm trying to figure out if you understand money, because where is all the money going to come from to support everybody. If
All right,
we're to give
you ready?
7
Let's see if I
billion
do.
people on Earth all the basic needs for life, where is that money going to come from? And, how do you distribute it?
I just told you where it's coming from. Let me explain it this way to you. DJ, I don't even know if you're going to be able to understand this. I think you will. I think you're an intelligent person. 2008, when the housing, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac imploded, basically taking General Motors and Lehman Brothers and many other, Goldman Sachs and many other institutions, economic institutions upon which the people upon this world depend for the economy to continue to go as it does. They needed to be bailed out. The government always operates on a deficit. That's why the national debt goes up day in and day out, every day, every year. Where did they get the one point, I think it was $6 trillion to bail out those people? DJ, where did that money come from? Yes, we understand how money works. We understand it.
It was printed.
There you go. It wasn't printed.
All right, they printed the money, and by printing that money, it devalued all of our money.
No, it does not, DJ. Did inflation rise once they didn't print? They electronically manufactured the one point, I think it was $6 trillion to aid these people. Did inflation in the United States or anywhere else in the world go up because they printed? Let's put it your way. Because they printed that money.
No, the value of the dollar went down.
It did not. You got your facts wrong. See, DJ, I'm not going to argue about. I'm asking you again. After they bailed out those companies, what was the inflation rate of money? That's what determines the devaluation. Okay. We're done now. You need to investigate and study and get other side of the story besides conspiratorialists. Are you an Alex Jones fan? Huh?
I listen to him, but I don't.
I see. Now, how would I know that?
I don't know how you know that.
There's people like Alex Jones and his followers that will never join our party, and we don't expect to. But you know what? I'm glad
you've been a little too extreme for me. I haven't been listening to him for some time, but
you keep
time
investigating.
Where he kind of woke me up to a few things.
Oh, did he? What conspiratorialist theory did he wake you up to?
He woke me up to 9/11.
What? Tell us about that a little bit. So 9/11 was a government hatch plan that there wasn't no planes that hit the World Trade Centers. Is that what you're saying?
The 9/11 was an inside job.
We're done here.
And
we're done. Thanks for the call.
wholeheartedly.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Gosh, we were going so well. DJ had the courage to call in and challenge. And he doesn't believe that 2 planes hit the World Trade Centers, nor does he understand why those quote-unquote terrorist people targeted the trade centers. There's nothing we could ever expect from DJ as long as he believes that. Let's go to our next caller. Mr. Robbie Pace, you're on the air. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Oh, hi. I was just calling in I know that you mentioned that the Anonymous doesn't, or the Humanity Party doesn't accept donations or anything. But what if somebody just wanted to give? Could they just give a gift? I know that they can write it off as a tax credit.
No, they can't. Number one, there'd be nowhere to give. Who are you going to give it to? There is no one. No, nobody will take your money. There's no account to put it in. There's just no way you can give anything to the Humanity Party. None at all. It's all privately funded. Basically, and I'm going to use his name because he deserves it, by Mr. Denton E. Thiede and a company he established called Filtergreen International. If it wasn't for that man's sacrifice and what he's done, the Humanity Party would not exist, could not exist and put on these radio shows and do what we do. One man who unselfishly sacrificed many years and time in his life and has basically bankrolled the Humanity Party. Mr. Deity, we thank you. He doesn't like his name mentioned, but we're going to give him the accolades that he deserves at this time in hopes that he will continue to support this incredible movement. We will not use donations. We will not use money to spread this message. Robbie, social media, you know how powerful that is. If we could just get people, if we could just get the message in some of the videos and some things about the Humanity Party to go viral. They haven't. It's a little bit disconcerting, but it's just how it is. But there will be no money ever exchanging hands to support the Humanity Party. There will not. It'll always
wanted
be.
To give money to Denton Deity or Filter Green International, would that be a good thing?
No, there's no way you could give it to them. You could buy their products. Filter Green International, for those who don't know, have one of the most incredible fuel additives that exist upon this. The fuel additive can reduce emissions guaranteed 40%, up to 75%. A fuel additive, a little tiny bit of stuff you add to fuel, can reduce emissions that much. And yet, the world won't even get behind that. But other than that, the Humanity Party has nothing to do with the money aspect of things. Even if we lost Mr. Thiedy's support, and I don't believe we will, even if we did, we would still do what we do. The producers would have to go get full-time jobs. They would have to do things like anybody else. We just sacrifice our time. The board of directors who do not get paid would continue to do what they've done in the past, what they do now, and they'll continue it in the future without getting paid, without receiving one dime. I, personally, for those of you who don't know, am part of the 1%. I am part of the 1%. I am, according to everything that a person would want, am wealthy. I have the means to do whatever I want. So I am doing with those means, and again, without Mr. Deity and his sacrifice, I wouldn't even have that job or the ability to do those things. But the fact is, the Humanity Party is about people supporting what is right. That's it. We'll never allow money.
Just voting anonymous is the best thing that we can do, and then just spread the word through Facebook or any other social media then.
Yep. Best thing anybody can do is sign that book of life. When somebody signs that book of life that's on the website, they're putting themselves out there. They're forced to provide their full name, and there are some people who don't put their correct information, but whatever. But they're supposed to put their full name, their address, their telephone number, their email, just as if they were registering to vote in their own country. If we could get 1 billion people to sign that book of life, we would have some clout, some power. But
I didn't realize that could also be used to do that, clout.
Yeah, the big,
because I noticed we're up to almost 200.
Woo! 200 folks out there. 200 folks out there want everybody upon earth from the time that they're born by no choice of their own. We're born by no choice of our own. 200 people out there support the idea that people shouldn't be forced into slavery, forced to work. Isn't that incredible, Mr. Pace? Isn't that incredible how people are?
I think this plan is, as I continue to think of things to try to be the devil's advocate and challenging it, the one thing, it's the hardest thing to challenge.
Why do you think that's the hardest thing to challenge?
Because it makes so much sense. I've always thought that people should not have to pay for education and health care. I've always thought that was a great thing, but I never actually saw a plan that produced it. So I think that a lot of people are just, they don't think, kind of like they just say things. They don't even know what they're talking about.
There you go. I love what you just said. People say things and they don't even know what they're talking about. People hold placards. They join protests. They join movements. They join Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Utah, Occupy Los Angeles, whatever. They don't even know what they're doing, why they're occupying it. But people without hope They'll get behind anything that creates a stimulus in their mind, gives them, hey, we're standing up against something. We don't have any solutions, but we're standing up against something. You see it all the time. People will hold a sign. Big banks and TPP, that Trans-Pacific Partnership. Down with that. They don't even know what it is. They have no idea what it's about. They don't have a clue. You see, but that's how people are. People are emotionally driven. They're emotionally driven because something in their life is not right. What's not right? People have lost hope, Mr. Pace. I think you understand that. They've lost hope in humanity, hope in government, hope in the ability to make it in life, to make a good living, to be able to have not only the things that you need, but the things that you want. And again, one of the biggest problems, of course, when people are in a hopeless situation, and they begin when people appear and seem and are powerless over their own lives, and they don't have the ability to act with their own free will, they're going to look for something outside of themselves for the answers and for help. And that's where God and religion comes into play. The religions that have developed upon this earth have developed from the need of human beings to find hope in something outside themselves because they feel powerless. So they're sucked into the idea that there exists this powerful God who cares about them and who has a plan. And here's the irony of it all. There's not one religion on this entire planet who has a solution to poverty. Talk about it. They preach about it. They say it's evil. They say that we got to end poverty. It shouldn't exist, but they don't have any substantial plan. But they have their gods. They have their gods in which their people and followers believe that assuage those feelings of hopelessness and give them moments of peace. They take the philosophies of men mingled with scripture, and it deceives them and leads them into a tranquil state of hypnosis that causes them not to think, not to want to think outside the box, not to listen to anyone outside those whom they believe are receiving revelation from their gods. And the voice of Anonymous has a question for all the religious gods out there in the world. Where you at? Where's your plan? Oops, you don't have one, do you? But we do. Mr. Pace, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate it. Have a good day.
Appreciate you.
Let's go back to some emails that we received here. Okay, and a gentleman named Connor, he wrote a little bit. He's a little bit on the offensive towards us, but I like some of his comments, and Connor has called in before. Okay, and let me go through his email and make some comments on it. I have no other callers in queue at this time. Incredible message we have today, folks, the first day of spring 2016. Shedding all kinds of light on political issues that could solve the world's problems, yet very few people listen. The show will be archived. People can get out there, and people who are out there didn't get time to listen can then listen. But Connor writes, my name is Connor, planning on messaging you tonight, telling anybody who reads this that I want to get involved. I'm a college student in Quebec, Canada, currently in a psychology program, and I suppose I'm not that special. Connor, you're not any less special than any of us, not any less special than me or anybody else. In fact, if you understood the Humanity Party and its precepts and concepts better than I, you would be the voice of humanity. Continuing. I've been involved in 2 different anonymous ops, though I didn't particularly enjoy how anonymous ops was being ran. Ops, that's the anonymous people out there who do the things that they do, who are basically cyber bullies. And he says that it was filled with children. I don't understand what he means by that. He said, I wanted to express my desire to help this Humanity Party group after hearing about it from your recent YouTube video. I've always supported Anonymous, and I've always felt that I need to take part in something that's bigger than myself and try to change the world for the better. I plan on doing so. In fact, with various ideas I have. I was going to ask if there was any way that I could join you, if not directly, to instead help in whatever direct ways that I could. You're joining us by joining us. You exist as a human being, therefore you're already a part of us. There's nothing to join. You can sign the Book of Life on the humanityparty.com website, which basically tells everybody else in the world that you are submitting your name, your address, your telephone number to this incredible concept. That's the best thing you can do. If people have the balls, the courage to step up and do that, they are anonymous. They are courageous. Anyway, but I'm currently listening to the $10,000 Worldwide Challenge radio broadcast recording. I'm noticing some things that I'm not fond of. Harry gets offensive, and I like his comments. You talk about equality and helping people, but then proceed to claim that the idea of quote-unquote God was created by the world leaders. This is false. I can't imagine me saying that, because that's not true. World leaders did not create the concept of God. God was created by people, usually men, way back, who took advantage of people just like I explained, who took advantage of people's hopelessness. These were opportunists that were smart, had the time to figure out what people wanted to hear, and then gave them what they wanted to hear. And then you say something, Connor says something that's exactly true. The idea of gods stretches back all the way to ancient Mesopotamia. It's humans trying to figure out the unknown, being afraid of it, and coming up with this idea of a higher power to give them purpose and guidance. We couldn't agree with you more. You talk about one group treating other groups, but again, Connor, you better listen again, because nowhere did we say some of the things that you're claiming in here. You talk about one group treating other groups as if that one group is better, but then talk down to people that have beliefs that differ from your own. And in there, you might hear my personal passion sometimes, because I have a problem with bigots. I'm a bigot of bigots. I have a problem with people who do not want other human beings to have the basic necessities of life provided for them free of charge. I am prejudiced against those people. It is true. And I'm going to try over time to rein in my personal passion to present more of the passion of the people that support the Humanity Party. He goes on, your broadcast, in fact, shares many similarities to the fanatics on the opposite end of the spectrum, racists, bigots, KKK, etc., who make broadcasts and ramble about things in similar manners, showing hypocrisy, holes in their ideas, etc. Connor, I'd love for you to call in. You should be calling in, not hiding behind an email, which most critics and enemies of this work do. They hide behind their emails. Don't dare to come on the air and put their intelligence out there, faced and challenged by us, because we are nothing like what you're talking about. But he goes on, this disturbed me because I hate broadcasts like that, and what I thought I would find from a radio broadcast from the Humanity Party would be something very professional, unbiased, equal. Let me tell you something, Connor, and all those out there who want a professional, systematic, written down agenda. You're never going to get that here. There is no agenda. There's the voice of you, Anonymous, who's directed by the board of directors of the Humanity Party, who sits here and talks about the things that come out of his head. That's it. There will be no professionalism about it, because that's when you get into the bull crap the politicians get into. Unbiased, it will never be. It'll always be biased against the powers in this world that do not support human life above all. Because upon first supporting human life, you then support the free will of that human being to act and be acted upon according to the desires of that individual human being. That's equality and freedom. The way that the system is set up with slavery and being forced to work to live, nobody has equality and nobody has freedom. He goes on, it may be leaning in that direction, but my faith and ideas I had about this party and what I hoped did for have been shaken. Well, you should be calling in then, Connor, if they've been shaken. should you have responses to these things or be able to assure me and others that you will stand by what you say and treat people equally and look at things rationally based on evidence and logic, then I still very much want to assist you in any way you can. Hell, even join your party and help directly in any way I can despite being in Canada. Well, let me tell you this, Connor. I'm going to assure you of this, that the basic premise of what we're going for is that everybody have equal amounts of free, nutritious food, basic clothing, basic housing, health, dental, mental care, and education equally. That's about all we can promise about equality, because we do not support other groups who do not support these things. So how can we be equal and unbiased and unprejudiced when we're fighting the people out there? We're fighting religion, we're fighting government, we're fighting conspiracy theories. And when you talk about rationally based evidence and logic, Connor, you think yours is better than everybody else's? Is DJ's not as equal as yours? DJ believes it was inside job 9/11, that the government somehow used Photoshop or something to bring, I don't know what the heck he thinks. But anyway, DJ's conspiratorial theories, does he not deserve equal adherence and respect to his opinion of what the facts are and what his logic is as you do? That's equality. And we're not about that. We say, DJ, believe in whatever you want, but support us in making sure we're providing you with all the basic necessities of life so you can have that opinion and you can think about those conspiracy theories. Connor goes on, if you're an organization that will stick to their better ideals without hypocrisy, I would stop at nothing to assist you at creating a better world for humanity and for the planet. Well, we hope that you do. Where are you at, buddy? Where are you at? Anyway. So let's get to the other questions. Came through the email. So, what is your stance on abortion? Again. We would rather that a fetus who has no consciousness and cannot live outside of the womb in any way be aborted before it becomes a slave. That's our stance on abortion. But if we can provide a political agenda and a political platform in a world where that individual, that person who was created inside the womb by the choice of the mother and father, whoever else created it, can come out and become a human and have the basic necessities of life provided for that human, then why would we be not for having as many kids and introducing as many human beings into this planet as we can, as we should? There's plenty of space. You can drive for miles and miles and miles across America and not see one house, not see one human being. Plenty of space for all the people. But unless they're provided with the basic necessities of life for free, and people would spread out away from the cities if they were, abortion is probably a good thing. Another question. Isn't it that if you, for example, write anonymous on your ballot, your vote is void and won't count, so it turns into a wasted vote? Wouldn't it be better to actually vote for someone? A vote for whom, whoever asked this question? Wasting your vote? Do you know how the Electoral College votes in the President of the United States? Do you know how the system of voting works and operates in America? Do you really think your vote matters? Let's say, for example, that you live in the state of Utah, the most conservative state in the United States, and you vote Democratic. It's going to matter. I'm talking on a national level. When the representatives from Utah, those who go back and actually cast their vote for the president, are overwhelmingly Republican, your vote is useless. When we say go vote anonymous, we're asking people who don't normally vote because they don't want to vote. They don't want to use their vote wasted on one of the two lessers of evil. We're saying utilize that vote and send a message. The more people, if we could get all the people who are of voting age to register to vote and then go vote anonymous, we would send a huge message that there should be a different party But we're not even going to try to do what the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, and all these other parties do, and that put a candidate out there to be trounced and not even get any media attention or any attention at all. Unless the people back this plan, the Humanity Party, there's going to be no Humanity Party candidates. But if there's a lot of people who do vote anonymous, and we see that, then of course we'll put a political candidate out there. Anyway, another comment, email. I felt a wonderful charge watching this video, by writing in anonymous in the write-in candidate slot. How does that benefit humanity? Tossed aside like all the Mickey Mouse write-in votes that have been cast in the past. Usually, if people take the time to register to vote and go and vote, and a person could write in Mickey Mouse, but Mickey Mouse doesn't have any solutions. Mickey Mouse there isn't a Disneyland party. The Humanity Party has a solution. They have the solutions. They have a political agenda. They have a platform. Therefore, you're not wasting your vote by supporting this movement. Another question. As a voter whom is leaning towards the Humanity Party, I would like for 4 issues to be addressed. 1. Why are presidents and Congress not limited to, say, 5 terms to ensure that people don't get lazy and not vote and we end up with the same people in power for decades? Well, if a president's doing a good job and the majority of people see that, why would we want to change that person? Okay, the Constitution allows the president to stay in there as long as the president supports the people and does what he is given power to do. Basically, the President of the United States, according to the proposed Humanity Party's Constitution, does this. Make sure, with his power over the military and law enforcement, make sure you're ready. The Congress and everybody else provides the basic necessities of life to people, that protects their right to belief, protects their freedoms, their individual freedoms, folks. Read the Constitution. It even limits the press. The press has gone out of control. Media has gone out of control in what they present. They can ruin a person's life. For somebody being charged with a crime that they didn't commit, the media gets all over it. The person's found not guilty. Too late. The media has already plastered that person's face all over the place. Everybody thinks they're guilty. Everybody says, oh, you were charged with soliciting a minor, whatever it is. That person is forever. Life's forever changed. That stops and ends with a new Constitution. And the president has the power and the authority to enforce the Constitution unlike any other politician's ever been in power. But that's where his power is limited. He doesn't make the laws. The Constitution is the law. Congress is set up to debate many of these things. Congress, a Congress of human beings who's elected to go argue about these things. That's what they're there for. 2, should there not be a maximum to the amount of increase? This talking about the pay in Congress. I'm not even going to talk about it. That's not even an issue. What congressmen made and other people make. The proposed Constitution has situations that need to be discussed by a Congress. But generally, it makes a point that people in politics should not go into politics to make a lot of money. But those who are in politics who do a good job should be compensated appropriately and accordingly to their good service to human beings. It's just money, folks. We can print as much as we need. 3, you may win more votes if you do not completely outlaw guns. Don't even want to get into that again. Guns need to be outlawed, but we don't need to outlaw guns. We can just outlaw the manufacture of gunpowder and regulate it so that it cannot make the bullets that kill people. We've already talked about that. And then he goes on to ask what happens to the existing agencies like the FDA, IRS, CIA, etc. The FBI is obviously, anyway, not going to get into that. He's talking about in the proposed fee 1 legal authority, 1 police force, 1 military under the same command. One of the biggest problems in intelligence sharing throughout the intelligence community, which CIA, Homeland Security, National Secure, I can't remember, I'm sorry. But all these different agencies don't share their information properly because each one of them have their bureaucrats in there that want to be known for solving a crime or catching a criminal. They should all be under the same authority. The President of the United States should be the commander-in-chief of all of them completely. And there should be no branches in the military. There should be a military that has the ability to do what the Marines do, what the Army does, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard. All these things are important, but they need to be unified under one command. That's the way that they can work properly and to benefit people better. Likewise, the CIA, FBI, and all those other intelligence, quote-unquote, oxymoron, intelligence services out there. Okay? Because the fact is, these people are supposed to brief the president every day. They're supposed to give him the intelligence that they come up with as they do their jobs. But every single one of them are bureaucrats. They all want to say, hey, this came from my department, or I did this, or this agent did this. That all has to end. We're trying to end that so that it works more smooth. Then it goes on. There's so many questions about the right to bear arms. It's just a moot point now. I think we've said enough. Producers, if you need them, say some more, then we will. Well, it looks like we got a caller on the line. Let's go here to, that caller just dropped off. Oh, well. But anyways, folks, my passion is about ran out. I'm going to play a song that I came across, Living in the Promised Land by Willie Nelson. Incredible song. Talks about, of course, the hypocrisy of the United States of America and the Statue of Liberty that basically promises people, you come into the country, in the United States, we will take care of you. And boy, oh boy, have we failed to do that. Listen to this song. I'll read you the lyrics. Give us your tired and weak, and we will make them strong. Bring us your foreign songs, and we will sing along. Leave us your broken dreams, and we'll give them time to mend. There's still a lot of love living in the promised land. Living in the promised land, our dreams are made of steel. The prayer of every man is to know how freedom feels. There is a winding road across the shifting sand, and room for everyone living in the promised land. So they came from a distant isle, nameless women, a nameless woman, faithless child, like a bad dream, until there was no room at all, no place to run, and no place to fall. Give us your daily bread. We have no shoes to wear, no place to call our home, only this cross of poverty to bear. We are the multitudes. Lend us a helping hand. Is there no love anymore living in the promised land? It's about America. Is there no love anymore? No hope, no competency living in the United States of America? We'll see you next month during the show. Have a good month. Here's Willie Nelson. Take me out.
Give us your tired and weak, and we will make them strong. Bring us your far-run songs, and we will sing along. Leave us your broken dreams, we'll give them time to mend. There's still a lot of love living in the promised land. Living in the promised land. Our dreams are made of steel. The prayer of every man is to know how freedom feels. There is a winding road across the shifting sand, and room for everyone living in the promised land. Came from a distant isle, nameless woman, faithless child, like a bad dream. Until there was no room at all, no place to run, and no place to fall. Give us your daily bread, helping hand? Is there no love anymore? Living in the promised land.
Living in the promised land.